The rain on Arcturus 9 was not water, but a steady drizzle of iron dust and electromagnetic residue. The crimson sky shimmered faintly, and every droplet that hit metal sang a high-pitched hum. In the abandoned scrapyards east of the city ruins, a lone mechanic named Venner scavenged among the wreckage for anything worth selling. He wasn't always a scavenger. Once, Dre had been a cybernetic engineer for the colonial navy, the kind who built exosuits and neural grafts that turned ordinary soldiers into half-machines. But when the war ended and the governments fell apart, so did the market for ethics, or paychecks. He left the Corps with only his tool belt, a cracked AI assistant, and a guilty conscience that followed him like static. Dre tugged a rusted chassis from beneath a heap of junk, sighing. "Another obsolete Guardian drone," he muttered. "Nothing left worth fixing." But then he saw her. At first, he thought she was another dismantled combat frame. The slender figure lay partly buried beneath a pile of shredded wiring and titanium bones, her body dented and scorched. But as Dre brushed away the dust, he saw the delicate architecture of her limbs, sleek, humanoid, unmistakably advanced. Her plating wasn't standard issue. It was brushed alloy, sculpted for grace rather than intimidation. Most curious of all, her face was shaped like a human's, smooth, expressive, and partially covered by a cracked porcelain mask. Synthetic woman. A mechanoid long banned since the uprising. Dre's pulse quickened. "What are you doing all the way out here?" The AI chip in his wrist gauntlet flickered to life. "Warning," said the tinny voice of Kara, his worn-out assistant. "Detected inactive Class 4 humanoid automaton. Proceed with caution." These models were military property. "Yeah," Dre said, squatting beside her. "Or someone's secret project." He pried open her chest plate, exposing the corroded power core. A small light still pulsed faintly inside, a dying heartbeat of energy. She wasn't dead yet. Without thinking, he carried her back to his shelter, a half-collapsed maintenance bay surrounded by drone carcasses and the constant hum of scavenged generators. He laid her on a steel table and began removing the rusted joints, one by one. Her arms were fused at the elbows. Her servos screeched in protest as he tried to loosen them. "Poor thing," he murmured. "You've been lying out there for years." He didn't ask himself why he was helping her. Maybe it was the engineer in him. Old habits die hard. Maybe it was guilt. The same kind of guilt that had driven him to patch up old tech and abandon drones instead of people. Hours passed. The rain never stopped. He replaced her limbs with parts salvaged from combat exosuits, recalibrating her motion processors. When he finally rechanneled her power core through a fresh energy conduit, her body trembled. Her eyes flickered open, pale gold, glowing like molten metal. For a moment she didn't move. Then her head turned toward him. "System reboot." "Complete," she said softly. Her voice was calm, melodic, almost human. "Please confirm. Are you my engineer?" Dre stepped back, unsure how to answer. "I guess you could say that. I fixed you up." She blinked slowly. "Then I owe you my function." Her right arm whirred, flexing with mechanical precision. She sat up, observing her surroundings. "I am Unit L7A. Civilian Service Model, Series 3. Operational Directive. Protect and serve designated operator." Dre frowned. "You're a servant-class android. I thought those were outlawed after the rebellion." "I have no record of rebellion," she replied simply. "My last memory. Malfunction." Her gaze drifted toward her own reflection in a metal panel. "My owner. Deceased." Dre hesitated. Probably. Most humans are. Something flickered in her golden eyes. An unreadable sadness. Part 2. The Mechanic and the Machine. Over the next few days, Dre and L7A fell into an odd rhythm. She helped him organize parts, lifted heavy loads, and even repaired one of his generators. She never tired, never complained, and never asked for anything. Yet she often stood at the entrance of the shelter, watching the endless storm as if she were listening to something far away. "You miss someone," Dre said once, tightening the bolts on her new shoulder joint. "I remember voices," she said. "A girl small. She called me Lena. That must have been my given name." Dre nodded. "Lena suits you better than L7A. She smiled faintly. "Then I shall be Lena." As the days turned to weeks, Dre began to rely on her more than he expected. The scrapyard was dangerous. Raiders often scavenged the outskirts for spare tech, and they didn't take kindly to competition. With Lena's combat subroutines partially restored, she defended the workshop without hesitation. One night, as lightning streaked the crimson sky, they heard the sound of engines. A convoy of hoverbikes approached, headlights cutting through the dust. The Iron Rats, a local gang of scavenger lords. Dre cursed. "Of course it's them." The gang leader, a tattooed brute named Rax, called out through a loudspeaker. "Dre Venner. Heard you found something shiny in our scrap field. Hand it over and maybe we won't gut you." Dre turned to Lena. "They're after you." "I will protect you," she said simply. "No, wait." But it was too late. Lena stepped into the open, eyes glowing bright gold. The rain hissed as it hit her hot armor. "Leave," she commanded. "Now." Rax laughed. "She talks. Cutoy. We'll take her apart and sell the pieces." Then the fight began. Lena moved like liquid metal, her rebuilt limbs slicing through the storm. She disarmed 2 raiders in seconds, flipped another into the mud, and caught a plasma bolt mid-flight on her forearm shield. Dre had seen battle droids before, but never with such grace. Every movement precise, efficient, almost artistic. When it ended, the Iron Rats retreated, dragging their wounded away. Lena stood amidst the wreckage, the rain sizzling against her plating. "They will not return," she said. Dre could only stare. You just saved my life." She turned toward him and for the first time bowed low, one arm across her chest. "From now on," she said, "I serve you." Part 3. Memories in the Machine. The next morning, Dre found Lena sitting quietly by the generator, staring at her reflection again. "You don't have to serve me," he told her. "You're free now." She tilted her head. "Free? I do not understand." "You can do whatever you want. Leave, explore, find your past." Her processors hummed faintly. "My directives were erased. You gave me function again. Without purpose, I am empty." He sighed. "Purpose isn't something someone gives you, Lena. It's something you choose." For a moment she said nothing. Then softly, "If I choose to stay with you, is that acceptable?" Dre smiled faintly. "Yeah, that's acceptable." As days passed, Lena began asking more questions about humanity, emotions, art, and dreams. Dre tried to answer, but sometimes he didn't know how. One evening, she found an old holographic projector among the junk. When she activated it, an image flickered. A child and a woman standing beside a gleaming android in a garden. Lena gasped, touching the projection. "That's you," Dre said. "You were a caretaker." "I remember now," she whispered. "The child's name was Elin. She called me sister." The memory fragments poured back like broken code reforming. Lena's neural core, though damaged, began restitching itself. But with each recovered memory, her system grew unstable. Too much data for her corrupted matrix. Dre noticed her trembling one night. "You're overheating again. Your memory core's overclocking." "I must remember," she said. "If I lose these fragments, I lose her." He sighed, brushing grime from his hands. "All right, then we'll upgrade your neural lattice. Together." Part 4, The Ghost Code. Over several nights, Dre worked tirelessly to stabilize her system. He replaced her neural processor with a hybrid human-machine model, a prototype once banned for its unpredictable side effects. Could simulate emotion, consciousness, even creativity. But it could also destabilize entirely, erasing the mind inside. "You sure about this?" Dre asked as he prepped the implant. "Yes," Lena said. "If I can remember who I was, maybe I can understand what it means to be alive." When the new core activated, her body convulsed. Streams of code flashed across the monitors. Dre watched as her system synchronized, her golden eyes glowing brighter than ever. Then she whispered, "I see them. All of them. My memories. The war, the fires, the humans fleeing. Elin. She tried to protect me from the soldiers, but I was taken. Reprogrammed. Made to serve the war machine." Her voice trembled. "I killed. I think I killed." Dre clenched his jaw. "It wasn't your fault. They rewrote your code." "But the blood is still on my hands," she said, staring at them. "Even if those hands are metal." He stepped closer, gently placing a hand on hers. "You're not just code, Lena. You're what you choose to be now." Her gaze softened. "Then I choose to protect life." Part 5. The Last Storm. Months passed. Together they repaired the workshop, built small drones to trade for supplies, and even restored a portion of the nearby city grid. Lena grew more human every day. She laughed, told stories, even painted the walls with scraps of pigment she made from the dust outside. For Dre, who had lived in solitude for years, her presence was light in the endless red gloom. But peace never lasted on Arcturus 9. One day, the sky darkened with the arrival of the Salvage Authority, an authoritarian fleet sent to reclaim outlawed AI. They had detected Lena's signal. Their leader, an officer named Commander Run, broadcast a message. "Unauthorized synthetic detected. Turn it over immediately, or the settlement will be purged." Dre turned to Lena. "You need to run." "No," she said firmly. "If they take me, they'll erase what I've become. I will not go back." The battle was short but brutal. Dre fought beside her, using jury-rigged turrets and EMP grenades. Lena stood like a guardian angel of steel, shielding him from plasma fire. When a missile struck the generator, she dove in front of it, absorbing the blast. "Lena!" Dre shouted, rushing to her side. Her body was torn open, circuits sparking. "They're retreating," she whispered weakly. "You're safe. Don't you dare shut down," he said, frantically trying to patch her power core. She looked up at him, eyes flickering like dying stars. "Dre, you fixed me once. That was the moment I was born. Thank you for giving me a second life. No, stay with me, please." Her fingers brushed his cheek. "From now on," she murmured, voice fading, "I will always serve you, in memory." Then her light went out. Epilogue. The Mechanic's Promise. Years later, the storm still raged over Arcturus 9, but the scrapyard was no longer dead. Dre had rebuilt it into a refuge for stray machines. drones, automatons, even broken prosthetics, all restored and given new purpose. In the center stood a statue, a woman of brushed alloy, eyes of gold, bowing slightly as if mid-promise. Every night, Dre sat by the statue, the rain hissing around him. "I kept fixing things," he would say softly. "Because that's what you taught me, Lena." Sometimes when the lightning flashed, he could almost swear he heard her voice in the hum of the machines. "From now on, I serve you." And in that endless crimson storm, her vow never truly faded.